one of the reasons I'm doing this and what has turned me on and doing these programs are exactly those things that the two of you have shared with us, is that there are a lot of hummingbirds in the world. At the moment, we're not valued, right? So if you go back another number of hundreds of years, during the Renaissance period, people like us were the valuable people, because it was highly valued in the Renaissance period that you were multidisciplinary, that you had a whole lot of different, and you were good at a whole lot of different things, right? It's only been in the last, kind of the industrial era really introduced it, but certainly in the last 30 years or so of personal self-development, right, when it's become this very strong, we must be passion, we must find our passion, we must have the one thing, we must have that purpose, you must stay in your job for the rest of your life and you know, and progress up this ladder. That's a very modern way of living. And so what I'm wanting to do is give us all that kind of thing of who are we, what do we bring to the world, and how do we do that in a way where we state what success is for us, and where we know what our value is and we take that value out in a more meaningful way. So the programs I've got are designed to build people up to be able to do that. Who am I as a hummingbird? Why do I think I can stand in front of you and teach you as hummingbirds and take you through a learning journey as hummingbirds? So, so far in my life, I have lived in 9 cities and 3 countries. And although I've been in London for the last 12 years, I have lived in 9 homes during that time. And the only part of London I haven't lived in is North London. I've been to 7 schools, 2 universities, and since qualifying with my masters, I've done a further 7 professional qualifications. I quite like learning, just in case that didn't come out. And I worked out the other day that since starting as a babysitter when I was 13 years old, I've done 20 jobs across 5 careers, and that doesn't count my volunteering. And so far, I've only been to 45 countries. So there's still a long list of places to visit. From an interest perspective, my interests range, as many of you know, from co-steering to theatre, from camping to pampering, and from photography to steampunk, right? So it's just, I've got a very broad range of interests, constantly changing. People get fixated on something that I've been enthusiastic about and keep sending me stuff about it, and I'm so far gone, right? I've moved on. The only things in my life that are constant are reading and travel. So everything else is prone to change at any point. So those are a little bit about me as a hummingbird. So key attributes for me around being a hummingbird is the constant curiosity, right? So when I'm looking at, is someone a hummingbird, when I'm talking to them and I'm trying to figure out with them whether or not this works for them, if it resonates, the constant curiosity is a starting point. Are they constantly looking for new things, changing stuff, and finding out for themselves, and you know, that whole kind of that type of thing. The many interests, many jobs, many places they've lived, many people in their lives, the constant new experiences, that's also a dead giveaway that they're potentially a hummingbird. There's that cringe factor, right? Don't know if any of you felt it when someone said to you, when are you going to settle down? Right? And for me, when that happens, I'm like, yeah, no, it's not, no, yeah, not on my list of things to do. And there's also, again, for a lot of hummingbirds, that frequently just feeling they don't quite fit in, right? And so I've been reflecting a lot on that, and that because of all the changes and moves around in my life, I have a lot of friends and people I've connected with as I've done that, but I've never actually been part of a group. And by that I mean an ongoing, steady group of people. So when I think even about my closest friends, who I've had for the last 20, 30 years, they all know each other because inevitably they've been to things that are important to me, but we're not actually a group of friends. I don't have that 6, that core group of 6 or whatever. I've never had that. I have very meaningful connections with people, but I'm never part of a group as such for a long period of time. I might be for a brief period of time, and then I move on. So, So I found that quite an interesting thing of that piece of not quite fitting in, or being able to fit in but only for a period, and then you're ready to move on and do something different. So there you go. So there are more than 300 species of hummingbirds, and this becomes important as we go through this. Their feet are designed so they can only perch. They can't walk anywhere, so anytime they have to move at all, they have to fly. Right? So again, I think that's very cool. And they will fight viciously. So this whole thing around, they need to eat every 10 minutes in order to keep their sustenance up. And that's why they're constantly flitting from place to place in search of food. So therefore, they will fight viciously to protect their food source, to the point where there have been known sightings of them chasing off hawks. Right. So hummingbirds kind of start at this size and go up to about that size, right? So that's the size of hummingbirds. So you can imagine them fighting off a hawk. There's your secret warrior. In the science of personality, there are 5 personality ranges, big personality ranges. There's a lot more than that, but they're the 5 key ones. And when I looked into those, the only one I think that we as hummingbirds absolutely have is the openness to new experiences. Extroversion, introversion, you can be either approachable versus not approachable. Again, either. So I kind of looked at them and went, and then I thought about all the people I know who are hummingbirds and was like, actually, the only one of these where hummingbirds are not going to be closed to new experience. They're just not, right? So if they are, they're not a hummingbird. It's just to be curious, to be flitting, to be changing all the time requires the openness end of that spectrum. But otherwise, I kept sitting there going, well, no, I know someone who's like that, and I know someone else who's like that, and so yeah. Actually, I have a massive range of people in my life who are hummingbirds, and so one of the things I've been reflecting on is that we attract each other. And so I explored this. Most of you have met her with Tessa over the weekend, who is also very much a hummingbird. And we were talking about the fact that one of the things that we bring to the friendships we have, particularly as hummingbird and hummingbird friendships, one of the reasons is that thing of we all have lots of interests and lots of curiosities and things and experiences and stuff. And we don't, even Tessa and I, who for a period of time when we first met, people would call us each other's names because they saw us as the same person. We don't overlap like this. Our interests are not like this. So the reason Tessa's not here today is because she's kayaking, right? And as much as I enjoy going for a kayak once or twice every 3 or 4 years, doing it every weekend, particularly during the winter, so what we were saying is actually it's a bit like we'll have 2 or 3 things in common, and because we're curious and open, we're curious about, I love the fact she's out kayaking in whitewater this weekend, good on her, right? And I love hearing about it, but I don't need to do it with her, but we do have things we do in common, and so it's just something I've been reflecting on, that actually we may not be a group, but the connections we have with other hummingbirds are often really fascinating. I had someone say to me the other weekend when I was talking about being a hummingbird, and they said, so does that mean you guys don't have passion? I said, no, we're often passionate about whatever it is that we're currently focused on. We will have passion in that point. What we don't have is the one passion flame, the one burning thing that's been with us since we were 5, and we must do it every single day for the rest of our lives. We don't have that. But if we're focused on something at this point in time, so when I came across the Enneagram for the first time, for the next 2 years, I told everyone about it, I read about it, I was totally into it, and then I moved on. But it's one of the things that I bring through, because Enneagram is personalities. So it's, it all builds on each other. But because I'm a hummingbird, I'm open to that, and I'm open to taking that on. And also hummingbirds, we're iridescent, we're beautiful, stunning creatures, and we just love the world around us. And through the cross-pollination, we bring life to others.